Greetings and salutations. So little bit of evening drawing here. I bounce back and forth between this project and that project. It becomes dizzying. So one of the things that have come to mind, and it's brought up in comments on YouTube videos and my Instagram, is technique. And that's kind of a problematic thing because I've never thought about technique. An awful lot of, well, the majority of everything that I've done drawing-wise has all come from experimentation. Finding out what didn't work more than what did work. And so coming up with some clear-cut, defined plan to say that doing this here will result in this, it's just never entered my mind. So that it's something in the process. I'm working on it, kind of collating and trying to organize what's essentially decades of experimentation. To come up with some formal means of explaining how I accomplish the results I accomplish. One of the things I've learned, first and foremost, and it seems kind of odd considering that I'm drawing over pencil lines, is the exclusive use of pen. Or anything ink. And this right here isn't exactly a very conscious conclusion to make. An awful lot of it has been developed by the environment, because as a child the only thing that was available was essentially ballpoint pens, cheap little Bic ballpoint pens, whatever was found in the shirt pocket, whatever Dad brought home from the auto shop he worked at. And the reason why I bring that up specifically is that using pen exclusively means you can't erase your mistakes. It's tough to learn from your mistakes if you erase them. So there is a book I would always recommend people interested in technique, they should pick up. It's Michelangelo and the Pope's Ceiling. And in context with painting the Sistine Chapel, I've always heard people say, how, painting it lying on his back, which wasn't the case. So you're basically working with watercolors. And you can't be lying on your back with a palette of watercolor dribbling down on your chest. How do you see the palette? And I would imagine there were structural constraints too with the nature of scaffolding. I mean, keep in mind this is, what, the 15th century? Thereabouts, 15th, early 16th century. And there was extensive writing. I can't remember the author's name. I probably should look it up, but I'm drawing, so that's that. But there was extensive draft going into the part of the Sistine Chapel, the flood. And I'm only bringing this up because essentially after the completion of the flood, a good chunk of the Sistine Chapel was essentially done freehand. Because you're running on the clock. These are frescoes. You put down plaster, and there's a chemical reaction in the plaster. And you have a certain surface area to work with in a certain period of time. And so you can't sit there and dither and dilly-dally on details. You have to hammer that shit out. And it got to the point to where it was just faster and more convenient to paint the Sistine Chapel freehand. And again, it's getting to the point to where you can't erase your mistakes. You look at your mistakes. It's like a fresco. Once you put it down, you can't take it away, or you have to start all over again. And pen and ink is very important with that. I worked at a Rancher's Art Kitchen in Colorado, and the chef that I worked with, when I started there, the chef that worked there, that was one of the things he always said, you can always add cooking, but you can't take cooking away. You can't make a well-cooked steak into a medium rare steak, but you can make a medium rare steak a well steak, or a medium well steak. And ink is quite a lot the same. You can always add ink, but you can't take ink away. And with ink, if you make a mistake, you either start over again, learning from the mistake, or you live with the mistake and learn how to turn your mistakes into opportunities. And that's the thing too. So if you make an error or a mistake, or it's something that you don't like, is it really a mistake? Because you're learning from it. You're gaining something from it. There's a positive from the mistake, if there's a learning process to it. So is a mistake really then a mistake? It's just an opportunity to head forward, to move ahead. And that's one of the things I would recommend, first and foremost, is use a pencil sparingly. Like for this, it's to establish composition, a general outline. There's a number of templates that I could use to make ellipses look cleaner, neater, more technical, but that's not the point. So anyway, in regards to technique, that would be the first major thing that I would say is work with pen, make mistakes, enjoy the mistakes, don't get mad at the mistakes. Encourage the mistakes. Buzz, phone goes off. And that's the learning from your mistakes and moving forward. That's quite a lot of what I do with making videos. I haven't made anything other than shorts for quite a while, and it gets to the point where, you know, you start getting overwhelmed by all the variables, all the details. So you use that as an excuse to not do something. Well, this could go wrong. That could go wrong. Got to treat these things as opportunities. I believe the quote is from 50 Secrets of Master Crafts. 50 Secrets of Magic Craftsmanship. Wow, I really murdered that one, didn't I? Salvador Dali had a quote in there. Artists don't worry about perfection, you will never attain it. And it gets one to think, what really is perfection? One could get the impression that perfection means that it's flawless. Whatever the object is that's perfect is flawless. Perhaps not. Perhaps one single item that has a flaw, but it's the only item in the universe that has that single flaw. Makes it one of a kind. So perhaps being one of a kind makes it more perfect than something that has no flaw at all. We get this impression that perfection means flawlessness. Maybe that's not the point. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for listening to my ramble. More to follow.